A pleasant day to everyone, especially to our panelists. We are the Group 66ZH. At this point of time, we will be presenting our research study entitled Eco-Friendly Practices of Tourist Destinations in Talaingo, Davao del Norte by Ms. Alihay Cherigin, Mr. Balakwit Harvey J., and yours truly. Chapter 1, Rationale. The environment is the most crucial aspect of the tourism industry. Hence, careful handling of this system is crucial in its conservation to preserve the natural resources essential in the tourism industry. Indeed, that environment plays significant role in the hospitality and tourism management, wherein environment provides everything in order to an industry operates from raw materials to products and services offer. Therefore, industry operators has the accountability to protect the environment through high standard of eco-friendly practices implementation in every destination. Uh, so in order to promote sustainable tourism, we researchers aim to um, explore and investigate if the said tourist destinations in Talaingo, Davao del Norte really apply eco-friendly practices to support environmental conservation and preservation.
Research objectives. So what are the eco-friendly practices of tourist destination? Second is how do tourist destination assess the eco-friendly practices? Third is what are the insights of the participants about eco-friendly practices? So these questions aim to determine the main objectives of our research. That to be pointed out because this question will reflect in the following steps of our research. Review of related literature. So this is the review related literature that we found. So in the first section, Tweedale in 2020 says that to be eco-friendly means doing something without harming the environment. So this is very applicable in every business practices because you are not just earning profit but also helping the environment. Products, events, and eco-friendly services do not cost the earth. In particularly, when thinking about the product, it means looking at everything from how the product is made to delivered. This means that creating product is not just how profitable we can make it, but also how we maximize the use and without harming around in it.
The role of eco-friendly practice in hospitality industry. So in this study of Geo 2014 shows that the green practice affects customers' perception towards the restaurants through recycling takeout containers, recycling waste and energy efficient lighting are some of these green practices which influence customers' attitudes. But in Zimbabwe and South Africa, there is a study found there is no policy of green management like the other restaurant practice. We also found out that some hotel managers there do not implement green management initiatives to alleviate problems. Nevertheless, we also found out that some hotels there is engaged in some environmental practices. The green practice implementation. Employees play a critical role in the success of the green initiatives. I strongly agree that having a sustainable tourism could make a big impact not just in the tourist, but also environment. People are curious of trying a new trends in accommodation through a sustainable tourism. Tourists can satisfied and meaningful experience. Also, it can be benefits because to allow travelers to be more conscious of their choices and can support local communities. However, employees play a big role in the success of the green initiatives. They also be trained and educated for having the knowledge to conserve in order to be eco-friendly. There are a lot of things that simple instructions to consider. It is a matter such of turning off any devices or equipment when it's not in use and using environmental friendly products.
Theoretical lens. This study is anchored to the theory of planned behavior of each operators in tourist destinations. The idea that beliefs of behavior are interrelated wherein attitude, subject norms, and perceived behavioral control together shape an individual's behavioral intentions and behaviors. So all of these elements are very important because it leads to the operators to come up and environmental awareness to really come up and an action regarding on this matter.
Significance of the study. So the focus of the study is to explore the eco-friendly practices of tourist destination in the locality of Talaingod, Davao del Norte. Hence, this study is beneficial to the following entities. So first is policymakers. So policymakers, so we can potentially help today or in the future. So the policymaking organization is to provide or implement policies which will improve the tourism locally and internationally. So this can also help them assess and evaluate any forms of harming the environment. Second is tourism industries. So tourism industry is one of the fast growing industry in our country. They should know the good environmental practices. So this study will give them the proper knowledge in the crucial role of green practices in the sustainability of the business operation. Last is future researchers. So this can give them future concept that is particularly related to their study.
Methods, Chapter 2, Research Design. We researcher will gather qualitative data about the different eco-friendly practice of the different tourist destinations in Talaingod, Davao del Norte. Using a case study approach, we use this approach to gain more in-depth insights to describe the specific green practices and how they implemented within a particular tourist destination. Research, research participation. Since as researcher we gathered qualitative data and using a case study approach of our research participants in this study will be the tourism industry workers in Talaingod, Davao del Norte. With at least 1 year experience in the said industry, participants will be determined using the snowball sampling method. Using this sampling method, the researcher will gradually select the participants to suggest whom to interview next. Research instrument. We researcher will utilize in a deep interviews. In this interview, we can be able to gather and provide the reliable information clarified through the interviewees. Views, since we cannot make a face-to-face engagement with individual participants, we researcher made a questionnaire through Google Form to gather the qualitative data.
A research procedure. We researchers has procedures and steps to follow in order for our research study do appropriately. So it is also set by the institution. First is the validation of research instruments. So all of our research-made questionnaires are validated by the experts, which are our advisor, panelists, and a research subject teacher. Second is seeking research approval. So before we conduct our study, we will have first seek an approval to the institution so that we can do our study appropriately. Third is the distribution of informed consent of consent form. So um, we researchers will give an or distribute consent form to the respondents in order for them to know their rights and responsibilities during the conduct of the study, and also to ensure that we researchers do the research study in ethical way. And since we are still in the time of pandemic, we will also be follow the safety health protocols to ensure the safety of everybody as well. Fourth is the administration of research instruments. So our respondents will be given Google links in order to answer it, and they will be given allotted time. And lastly, collation of responses. So as soon as we met all the responses, we will gather all of it and immediately for the interpretation.
Data analysis. In data analysis, there are 8 processes, but I will discuss the 4 process, which is transcription, thematic analysis, familiarization, and coding. So transcription, as it says there is a process. This is a process of reproducing spoken words such as those from autotape interview into the written text. So this written text recording of what we gathered from the participant. Second is thematic analysis. This method is used to repeatedly analyze and interpret the data to examine the common themes such as the topic and ideas. Next is familiarization. The researchers will familiarize the data like transcribing audio, reading through the text, or taking initial notes. Next is coding. So coding is to highlighting section of the text. It is usually shorthanded or sentences which describe the whole content of the text.
Generating themes. So in this step, we will look over the codes we've created, identify the patterns among them, and start coming up with the themes. On this stage, we might decide that some of our codes are not relevant enough. For example, they do not appear very often into the data, so they can be discarded. What we decided will vary according to what we're trying to find out. We want to create themes that tell us something helpful about the data for our purpose. Next one is reviewing themes. Reviewing themes, now we have to make sure that our themes are useful and accurate representation of the data. We return the set and compare our theme against it. If we forgot anything, are these themes really present in the data? What can we change to make our themes work better? If we encounter problems with our themes, we might split them up, combine them, discard them, or we will create new ones. Next one is defining and naming themes. Now that we have the final list of the themes, in this step, it's time to name and define each of them. Defining themes involves formulating exactly what we mean by each themes and figuring out how it helps us understand the data. Also, it involves coming up with the sunset and the easily understandable name of each theme. And the last one is writing up. Finally, in this step, we'll write up our analysis of the data. Like all the academic texts, writing up the thematic analysis requires an introduction to establish our research questions, aims, and approach. We should also include here a methodology section in describing how we collected the data, and result or findings will follow the afterwards. Finally, conclusion explain the main takeaways and shows how the analysis has answered our research questions.
That's all for the discussion about our research study. Thank you and may God bless us all.